Good morning. I'll get everything set up here. Let's see if I can get YouTube to jump on with us this morning too. There we go. Let's see. Let's breathe and ground and okay, live streaming isn't available right now through YouTube, so we're not going to. Setbacks today. Talking about setbacks. And this one over here is just like, nope, not gonna do it. So that's okay. That's fine. We'll just talk about setbacks here. Why setbacks? Been reflecting a lot in my own life. I'm trying to take out that word trying. I'm doing my best to figure out what the setbacks are and what's holding me back. What, who, how, why, that sort of thing. Oh, which reminds me, start with why. Big book that we dive into with all of this today. Maybe we'll start there with our why. Yeah, so we might end up, I'm going to say repeating things from last time, but talking about blocks and looking at what, I mean, even, I don't know if these are blocks or setbacks. I feel like blocks and setbacks are two different things. Setback. Let's start with why. Then we'll dive in. If you jump on here onto the live stream, you have questions, feel free to ask. We're just going to set that one off to the side and come back to it. I had made a note in here. It's not what he does that gets him out of bed every morning, it's why he does it. Setbacks. So despite any setbacks, or even if there are setbacks, ask yourself, why do you do what it is that you want to do? For me, personally, it feels like a calling. And there was something else even in here, because it's talking about the chosen path. And there's that interesting word choice again, because it's not so much that we choose. And like career-wise, sometimes we end up in the places we are out of consequentially, because it's aligned, because it's purpose, because of its kismet, because frequencies and vibrations and matching and aligning. That feels right. For example, I wanted to be an archaeologist. I wanted to study Egyptology. Never in a million years, as a child, as a teenager, did I ever think I would be reading tarot cards and drawing auras and diving into the work that I do. How do you come to neurological implications of aesthetics and consciousness? By situations, by circumstances, by trying to understand how to propel yourself forward. And there's something else there in setbacks too, because again, we hear something like setbacks and people jump in with judgment and these negative connotations. But I think of setbacks like a slingshot. Like the further you're pulled back and the further you're set back, the further the launch is in propelling yourself forward. Okay, let's go into setbacks and into the new tarot. In shuffling through the new tarot, the first card that came up was the Lovers being setbacks, or a lover being a setback, a past lover being a setback, lovers holding you back. unification, ideas about love holding you back, setting you back. I think one of the biggest setbacks for me was a few years ago, when my son's dad filed for full custody. That one set me back so far in so many ways. I had to give up my PhD. I had to drop my radio show. Went thousands of dollars in debt. My mom had to refinance her house in order to, and this is just for maintaining 50-50, you know? And, you know, so there's all these financial setbacks. And then there's like the social setbacks that come with that, because people need to, or feel they need to pick sides or distort, or I don't know, there's just been this odd ripple in something in community or whatever, which is bringing us back to setbacks, because it's not just me, right? This is not about me. And I think in that situation, like, and this is on the grounds of taking my life's work, taking my proclamation, taking my the neurological implications of aesthetics and consciousness stuff, right? My life's work, and trying to weaponize that against me in order to try to call me crazy. And I've been in therapy since I was 14. You know, I've been studying psychology since I was 17. And I've been in so many different situations, healing situations, alternative health situations. And in all of these situations with these professionals, I've received so much validation and so much support. You know, then there's setbacks. When somebody you care about tries to label you or define you as something you're not, it has ramifications. It has ramifications. This is Ace of Discs. We're going to look at that. This is, I put that Lover's card back in there. If it pops out again, I'll kind of show you, because there's this trifecta. I don't know, there's just a lot of triangles in this deck, pyramids in this deck. Back to Egyptology again. One of the other books that I have up here, and I don't know how relevant this is the Hieroglyphics Handbook. So I don't know if there's like a symbol and something in here. Go for it. Now you should be 100% ready to have a go writing your own name or names in all different directions. Good luck. Setbacks. Allowing other people to define you for you. 10 Cups shows up here because there's this unification here. There's a mirroring here of masculine and feminine sides. There's a holistic approach here. And so they're supporting each other too through hands, which I think is important in setbacks. And I think a lot about this situation that led to custody court. Things that I've done, things that I could have done different, things that could have changed in a way that could have prevented things or could have altered things. And that's tough. That's really, really tough, because when you spend the majority of your life, most of your life, working towards a goal, striving towards something, trying to be your best self, always growing, always learning, always evolving. Like know thyself is coming into mind. The Star card is here too. Understanding that essence and diving into that space, because when we get into this realm, especially in like relationship dynamics, I mean, whether it's like love relationships, work relationships, family relationships, relationships with the random person at the gas station, whatever it is. Anytime you have an interaction with another person, there's a relationship there. Even another thing, object, place, anytime the internal state relates to something external, that internal external thing bridges together, there's that space that's filled, there's a relationship, there's a dynamic there. How are you doing? This is an interesting book to kind of pull out of. This is interesting because it's like showing you how to write in hieroglyphics. I don't know that I've really ever opened this. I have so many books, tons of books, art supplies and books. A lot of it's just been given to me over the years. Setbacks. Limiting belief systems are coming to mind too. Let's look at this Ace of Discs. I do have Crow. We'll talk a little bit about that. Last week was so esoteric and kind of like in this ethereal space, which was intense for me. It has put me in this place of processing, like deeply processing, and maybe some of it's the moon stuff or some of this like astrological phenomena that's happening or something, whatever, I don't know. As above, so below, right? That one's not relevant either. Hi, thanks for jumping in. Okay, it's interesting sometimes when certain people jump into this space and the thoughts kind of throw off. Some people are going through some really difficult things. 9 Swords just opened up here too, so we'll look at that as far as setbacks. That feels appropriate. So if you just jumped on, 9 Swords might be related to you. I'm gonna let's do this. Let's look at let's look at Ace of Discs. And then we'll look at this 9 Swords card. Because there are, I think I have an issue where people are like, all your problems are all your fault, thoughts create things, the world is the way that it is because somehow you did it. In one perspective, sure, okay, we can do that, we can take accountability for our shared input. On the other hand, being all one, right? Not being separate from other things outside of the internal experience have a profound impact on the way you perceive the world, or can have a profound impact, especially when, again, it comes from somebody who is close to you. Jealousy is coming to mind too when I see this card. This theme has come up a lot this year, and I was thinking about it in the shower, like, setbacks, right? Like, man, I just don't like being around jealous people. Jealous people throughout my life have done heinous things that have really set me back. My fault isn't in seeing the best in people, thinking people have my highest good in mind, or it's just interesting to me the level of betrayal some people can exhibit in reaction to or in regards to jealousy or envy that they feel. And it's all perceived, none of it's out of anything that's real, right? Ace of Discs, the essence of earth, and I almost saw this as like the essence of flat earth. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole right now. but setbacks and belief systems, things might not be whatever it is that we see. So if you jump on, you can ask questions. Ace of Discs is what we're going to start with. The essence of Earth representing the material plane, our physical needs and our physical form. When this card appears, consider your relationship to home or career, what resources or wealth are available to you, and how you relate to your own body. Here we are talking about relationships and setbacks. And so, sure, there's external relationships that set you back and that can impact you, right? And people that try to set you back based off their judgments, their interactions, their reactions, their responses. And sometimes people do things, heinous things, that are not something you would ever do or would ever think to do or would ever think that they would do, right? But here it comes along that has this profound impact. And so, therefore, maybe your relationship to self is super, super important, that balancing of that masculine and feminine, right? That relationship to the energetic, or I mean, even that relationship to the emotional body. So they're talking here about the physical plane and the physical body and setbacks in the physical body. So maybe there are limitations in the physical body too. Our meat suits don't allow us to do all of the things. So if there's setbacks in health, sleep, physical injuries, I don't know, shoulders coming to mind because my shoulder always hurts, right? Or like the bone spurs in my back, the setbacks. What is set back there? Castor oil has been said to be able to dissolve any hardnesses in the body, even bone spurs. So relating to health, food, the relationships that you create to the world around you, right? Getting in alignment with this. And why is the flat earth thing coming to mind? I watched something very briefly just before this, and it started out as a flat earth thing, but then it went into a completely different direction. I think I stuck it into the Human Academy. We can talk more about the Human Academy at some point down the road. There are resources, though, for evolving into luminous light bodies, into the homo luminous structure, into understanding things from this level. But it's that as above, so below thing, right, in the body, in that toroidal field, like the earth in this plane or in this realm. It's interesting to me, they call it flat earth, but it's still represented in a bubble, in a sphere, in a toroidal sphere, an energetic sphere where there's some sort of black sun that relates to the black heart, or like there's like a density. That's like from Futurama. What's that stuff? That solid black stuff they used to fuel the ship. The little creature poops it out. What can I think of? Anyway. We are born into this earth, and we are of it. We must navigate earthly laws and find ways to meet our physical needs while also enjoying physical pleasures. Setbacks. Into the body. So many people, I've noticed, are not present physically in their bodies. They're ahead, they're behind, they're on another dimension, they're on another plane, they're perceiving a different program, maybe. But they're not taking care of their bodies, or when they're doing things with their body, they're doing it incorrectly. You can bend incorrectly. You can, you shouldn't be bending at your back. You should be bending at your knees. Nothing should ever be, I can't say never, these like whole definitive, because that goes into this realm of like, if this isn't like everything else, therefore then it's evil or something. Punishing people for being human, or trying to call mistakes these inherent traits or whatever, and then people try to slap a label of evil on it, and then people just like conform to this. setbacks and limitations within the earthly sphere. I mean, we have everything we need here in order to evolve and to propel ourselves forward. But we're disconnected and not acknowledging or seeing, or if we are connected and we are seeing and we are acknowledging and we're reaching out and we're trying to get it. I have this really strong picture in my head. Okay, somebody's reaching out to grab something, and here's this person standing there with a baseball bat, right? And they're waiting for you to get close so they can just swing and like knock you out. Oof. Okay, let's look at 9 swords. Because, Kismet! Okay. Nine swords. That's an appropriate sound going into this. All these things around you, having to be careful, precarious. You are overwhelmed by options as you overanalyze. You've extrapolated all the possibilities, and the outlook seems grim. For better or worse, you must reach the heart of the matter. Surrounded by anxieties, you become trapped in a cycle of negative thoughts. Remember to step away once in a while. No problem can be solved by obsession. Okay, so let's look at setbacks. Let's figure out what that core, deep, dark thing is, right? Because we want to be in this essence, in this energy of fulfillment and wholeness, right? And purpose. There's all these earthly things coming along and creating these negative pictures, these negative stories. Somebody who is jealous and envious of you will try to paint a picture of you to make you look really bad. Right? And then they'll put that painting up on the wall and people will be like, oh, that person must be really bad. But they're not. Let's pick a 5th one out of here, because I feel this and this heaviness and the setbacks. Okay, so if there's setbacks, what do? Start with the body, start with your health, your physical health. Always go back to, what are you eating? What are you consuming? What are you taking in? What are you absorbing? If you're not like already full of your own essence, if you're not fulfilling that meat suit, right, then it's like a dry sponge, where if you set that dry sponge into a container and it's got any sort of liquid in it, it's going to absorb whatever is in there. You know, it's not going to filter out the gunk from the water and just absorb the water. It's going to absorb everything. So eating simply comes to mind. Grains, vegetables, just very, very basic. If you're thinking too much or whatever, and probably eating too much processed foods, Empress comes into mind. We'll go into the tarot here next too. I think maybe even before we go into the Crow Tarot, maybe we'll pull out one of these art oracles over here and just kind of give us some sort of definitive direction, because although we are each individual facets, right, going through different things, we're all experiencing this at some level or another, and that density and that setback. Not what is holding you back, not what are you resisting, what has been set back. When I was trying to put the title on the YouTube thing, setback, when I thought set, I thought like movie set. where somebody is curated some sort of circumstance, or is like set you up to fail in some sort of way, or is trying to like set the scene to put you back, or to keep you back, or to hold you back. We're behind the curtain here. This isn't talking about center stage. This isn't talking about a performance. This isn't talking about a play or something that's pretend. This is behind the curtain. When you lift the curtain, when you get behind that veil and you see what's really going on and what's really occurring, then you'll realize, oh, that's what set me back. And then how do you fix it? I don't know. Is there like a you fixing it? The Empress card is here. That's a powerful card. By standing in your power, by calling your power back to you, by recapitulating that energy. These things take time. It's not something that's really going to happen overnight. These challenges, these setbacks, take time to recover from. And there's so much emphasis on rushing and doing it now and just getting over it and just being whatever, and just so we can quantum leap into it if we really want. It doesn't have to take time. That's a construct, maybe. The earth is on its own time plane, sure. I can't quantum leap myself or quantum leap the earth to be spring already. It's fall, right? The trees still have to go through their process. They still have to drop their leaves, and it's not even winter yet. We haven't even hit the cold season yet. So I can't propel myself through time and space to get to somewhere else. But that mindset, right? Setback mindset. So if we want to invert something, let's come back around, right? So if somebody has put a setback, right, then we can go back into mindset and reset the mind. Almost like a reset button or a restart button. There's a setback. It's not a bad thing. I mean, it could be in your highest good depending on what you decide to do for it, but something about the action steps there. The AP, the action potential, it's a neurological response that happens. You see something or you sense something in the external world, and it creates an action potential within the brain that generates some sort of response in the body. Okay, so an archetypal mother figure, the Empress is a nurturing and supportive presence. Aphrodite is goddess of beauty and love. Here you will find emotional safety and open, loving relationships. We started this out in relationships, and probably not a whole lot of energetically open relationships. I think people have kind of taken that to open relationships where people are having sex with whoever they want. That's not the openness that I'm talking about. That's more like a that sort of relationship to me is a very sponging relationship, right? Something is dry, so you put yourself into these containers and you just absorb, and then like rinse out, wash off, and squeeze it, like all these. Energetically, it just gets diluted. And it's not to say that that's bad or people shouldn't be doing that. Like, live and let love, right? People can. I'm talking about being energetically open and not shutting yourself off and closing yourself off to these new ideas, but safety, safe spaces, creating safe spaces. I mean, if you don't feel safe in a relationship, whether it's, again, with another person, with the food, with some sort of container, ask yourself, well, did I create this container to be unsafe? There was somebody I know who created a container and was like, this is not safe space. You know, and for those of us who walked into that container, I mean, it absolutely was not safe space. And she created that container for it to be unsafe. And that was a really horrible, awful feeling. One I will never forget, and one that I don't think accomplished what she had set out to accomplish, although I'm sure there's information in there that could be used to garner self-confirmation bias. Oftentimes people create these unsafe containers to generate fuel or function for that bias, right? So if a person has a bias or they have a thought of like, oh, this person is bad or these people are bad, so therefore I'm going to create an unsafe container to invite this person into, and then I'm going to antagonize that person intentionally to get the sort of reaction that will validate my bias. Those are not good places to be in. Those are not good containers. There's so many times in my life where, and including that situation that I was talking about where, you know, the alarm bell goes off inside and it's like, this is not a safe space. Are you sure this is something that you want to do? You know? Is it something you need to do? Sometimes we need to experience those negative, dark, awful, whatever harmful things so we can understand how to heal and to repair it. I'm just experiencing things firsthand to know that, yeah, the people that you think love you the most, or that, you know, you have these loving relationships with, when put in under constraint, or when held to accountability, I want to like even go to say like when put into an account, instead of taking accountability for their own shitty actions, they would be more likely to project bullshit onto you to make you feel really bad in order to make themselves feel better. And yeah, that would set you back. That would absolutely set you back. And I think again to this like loving, mothering, nurturing thing, I keep seeing these things, or I keep hearing these things of like, surround yourself with people that love you and that care about you, and, you know, surround yourself with these people. How do you know? You know, how do you really know? Sometimes you don't get to choose what type of people are around you. You don't get to just like hand select out of the billions of people on earth, oh, these are the people that I want to be around, and then invite them over for dinner and they're all going to sit down together and then they're all going to be best friends. Like, that doesn't work. You know, you're put into these containers in these situations, or you're just on this planet of earth with all these billions of other people, right? And because of patterns, and patterns that are billions and billions of years old, here we are in the place that we are, you know, doing the things that we do, around the people that we are around, for whatever. We give it meaning, we attribute meaning to it based off of our thoughts, ideas, and beliefs. And silly humans, you know, things have to mean something. You know, these cards have to mean something, right? We have to create meaning in order to get ourselves out of bed in the morning, so we have a why. Start with why. Should we pull out something else in here? The Empress is a reminder to foster community so it can grow into a garden, one in which every kind of flower is cared for. This is softness, openness to vulnerability, acceptance of yourself and others, trust and peace will come. I think I've created a rule for myself over the last few years. If somebody can't trust me or won't trust me or refuses to trust me, they need to go out here, like out of my periphery, out of my bubble. They don't need to be close to me. They don't need to be one of these people who are like, oh, I don't trust you. I think you're gonna do something that's gonna hurt me, but I'm gonna pursue you anyway. I'm gonna show up anyway. I'm gonna take something from you anyway because I don't trust you and you just have these things that make me whatever. So I'm gonna use this opportunity as my permission to harm you because for whatever reason, I don't trust you. And it's not, it's that mirroring thing where if you hold up a mirror to somebody, and again, you're standing in your power and your highest good, and you're, being open and authentic, and you're being vulnerable, and somebody's like, I don't trust you. It's not you that they don't trust. It's that mirroring back. There's something within themselves that they don't trust. But they don't want to acknowledge that. They don't want to acknowledge that they don't trust something within themselves, or that they're a distrusting person, or that they have something within them that shouldn't be trusted. Because I'm learning, if you don't trust me, and I know I'm a trustworthy person, yeah, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to play that game. We can cut and we can filter, for sure. And it's just like, and if you want to build trust in relationships, if you want to, in any sort of relationship, back to the trust fall again, not into the trust fall on the last one, if there's no trust, there's no love. And when you open yourself up to trust somebody who is untrustworthy and who won't trust you, you will get hurt. Absolutely, every single time. I know, I've tested it, I've tried it, and every time that I have opened up and been vulnerable around people who don't have my highest good in mind, I've always gotten hurt. Meanwhile, they get to be propelled, or they're lifted. I don't want to call it elevated. It's like stepped on, like almost like somebody's holding you down. I get a picture in my head a lot of somebody standing on my throat. Like just this picture on the ground. So again, with the baseball bat, here you are reaching out for something came along, swung, hit with the baseball bat down on the ground, and now they're just like holding you down with their foot at the throat. That is a really strong picture I have in my head, and one that is quite upsetting. Okay, let's do this. Start with why. The moon is here too. Maybe we'll talk about the moon. Ooh, and even 5 cups. Oh man, like heartache stuff. Look at all this blood spill. Dude, I swear, like, somebody wants me dead. I don't know who, I don't know why I keep getting these thoughts. This advocacy work is really difficult. It doesn't feel safe, right? I mean, even in the realm of, like, arts and self-expression and, like, expressing truth, I don't feel safe to do that. And I would really like to, okay, let's put these first 5 kind of off to the side as far as setbacks. I feel like that was probably relevant to the first couple of people that jumped in, or just setbacks of belief systems, earthly setbacks. Sometimes that's just how it is, and we work through those challenges, and we overcome them, and then we grow. They give us opportunities to grow. Okay? If anything, they show us how to create safe spaces and how to be safe for other people. And please, please, please be safe for other people. If people are coming to you with difficulties and heartaches and struggles and all of that, that's so sacred. That's such like a delicate little baby to nurture, and to hold. But for whatever reasons, we are in this society that says that, no, that's bad, or whatever. You have to outcast or shun or shame or blame or, like, make people who are vulnerable feel shitty. Like the fucking cricket that I had, I don't know, like 15 years ago. Longer than that. Like, what? 18 years old, living in my first apartment, and I had a leopard gecko at the time, and I fed it crickets, right? And there's this one cricket, and I'll never, ever, ever forget this. It's molting. And crickets are black. They molt their shells, that hard exoskeleton, right? And they're, like, just pure white underneath. It's so raw, and they're so vulnerable, and they're just so pure and delicate. And this other fucking cricket comes along. This little asshole cricket is like, oh, you're vulnerable, ha! And just decides to eat a hole through the center of its abdomen while it's alive, right? And there's this thing, you know, it's got a hole eaten through it, and it's like halfway out of its shell, and it's just like, ah! Which is like this picture to me. These came up this way. So we'll probably talk about the inversion of them, because, like, in the realm of choices, just because you want to hurt somebody, or you think you get to hurt somebody, or you want to try and take somebody's life, that doesn't mean that you get to. Even if it's your own. You know, you don't get to make that decision. I learned that one early on, too. That one isn't, I mean, some people, you know, maybe that's the direction it needed to go, or whatever, that was their agreement, or whatever. I don't want to go into, I'm not going to go into that. I'm not going to do that today. We're not going to go into that. We're talking about setbacks. And yes, these heavy emotional things set us back, right? These experiences that we go through set us back. But I think more than anything, it's the relationships, or the way that the relationships work, that are creating the setbacks. Okay, those are gonna go over there. This one's gonna go over here. Oh, pardon me. We're just gonna clear that. Ugh. Something in this space right now is not sitting very well with me. Somebody's working through some pretty difficult stuff. Okay, Ai Weiwei. Michelangelo. And let's pick one more out of our art oracles. We'll use these guys kind of as our liaisons, perhaps, and then we'll pick one or two out of the crow, and then we'll call it for the day. I do have conjure cards. Maybe we can end on one of those. I'm not too sure. There she is again, Louise. I'm just gonna mention it just because she keeps popping up, and she popped up last time. Remembering through art is better than forgetting. Don't suppress your stuff, it's just gonna set you back even further. An interference is worth 1,000 appendages. An inference is worth 1,000 appendages. Not making assumptions, for one. Digging in, exploring. I was listening to somebody who was talking about the rotisserie chicken method, right? Where, like, if you get a rotisserie chicken and you pull off, like, the meat, you're like, oh, that's it. But if you, like, turn the chicken over and you crack it open and you, like, really dig in through the bones, like, you can produce, like, another, like, half pound of meat. Like, you can find the meat, but you have to, like, get to it. You can't just take whatever's on the surface and then assume that nothing else is there, because so much is thrown away and so much is wasted. But ask more questions. 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 Don't make assumptions. Ask more questions. If you have a question about something, ask that question and then keep asking, especially if you only get one-word responses, or if you only get limited responses. Ask more questions. Ask more questions. Don't make the assumptions. Don't jump to these conclusions because you don't want to do the work and you don't want to, like, go through it. keep asking the questions. Draw on private pain to connect with the public. Okay, that's what I'm doing here. We're in a vulnerable space. We're talking about setbacks. Trying to bridge into these spaces, because as above, so below. If I've gone through something, somebody's probably gone through something similar, right? And we share these experiences to be able to learn from our mistakes. That's why we are opening up and sharing things in this space, right? So that you know that the knowledge and the information that I have comes from experience, right? Lived experience, real pain. Like the amount of pain that I have, that's the pain, that's all the emotional work. This isn't like, you know, like this, but I keep it private. I keep it inside. I've been keeping it private. I've been keeping it inside. And it's hard because I'm just feeling so much pain. So much pain. Some of it's mine, some of it's others, right? I got a Pisces moon. I just soak up the emotions around me. And I am in this work, right? In this work that I do, just very, very sensitive and attuned to subtle body energies in people. Yeah, I try to tune it off. I try to ignore it. I try to just not acknowledge it sometimes. Because some of the information that I get from people, around people, or that I pick up on from people, it's not good. It's not good. And hard to convey that in a world where people have to feel good all the time. And if you have to feel good all the time, that's going to be a setback for you. Or if you're just chasing pleasure and just going to all the things that feel good and feel good and feel good, it's like the antithesis of the setback, right? Because if you get setback and setback and setback, eventually that thing's going to be released and you'll be propelled forward, right? So the further that setback is, the more potential you have to get further ahead, right? From the other side of it, you're only pursuing pleasure. Pursue pleasure, pursue pleasure, pursue pleasure, and you're pushing into it, you're pushing into that. You're gonna get thrown back pretty far until you kind of like hit a wall or hit that rock bottom and like have that wake-up call. It's a long fall from the top. When you are grounded and you can see things, or you've hit rock bottom, or you've been set back, or you're at base level, level 1, ground 0, whatever it is, at the beginning, at the start, right? There's nowhere left to go except for up. But if what you're used to is up, and always having to be up here, and you just get yourself higher and higher and higher and higher and higher and higher, you're a long way from the bottom, you're a long way from the ground, you're a long way from earth and being rooted in reality. And I don't want to say if you fall, when you fall, all that you've been resisting, all that pain you've been avoiding will hit you all at once. And I think when people make that big of a fall, it is incredibly overwhelming and very difficult to overcome mentally. Mental blocks, back to this, like, setbacks, what is setting us back. Setting us back, feeling like you always need to be on top, you always need to be a winner, you always need to, like, achieve or meet some sort of standard that is unreal, unattainable, and then, beating yourself up over these things that aren't meant to happen. I can't beat myself up for not being an archaeologist. You know, my life went in a completely different direction. Now I don't beat myself up for not being an archaeologist. I find a way to incorporate archaeology into the work that I'm doing. I still get to study Egypt. I still get to study pyramids. I still get to dig into things, uncover things that have been repressed and hidden for a long, long time. So I still do that. Okay? Ai Weiwei. Let's talk about Ai Weiwei. When authority says to be quiet, get a loudspeaker. Like that. You know, picture of someone standing on my throat. I think in the last one too, I had talked about a visual I had of from a hypnotherapy session of being submerged in the ocean, and then pulling this like giant rod out of my throat, and there just being tar everywhere. Setbacks, like there's this current theme. There's this currency in my life of like people trying to stop me from expressing myself, which is for me interesting because the week of energy, day of prolific expression, whatever, like in my life purpose reading, it's make art, do things, express yourself,
Express yourself.
Get out your loudspeaker. Creativity can be learned, it can be trained. Creative behavior development. It relates to innovation in environments. It's not fully settled into the arts. Art must fight for freedom, or the whole world is a prison. Did I post it on Art in the Sex Scene? I might have, right? I don't know what interview, but there's like this whatever interview dynamic with Drew Barrymore and Keanu Reeves. And Drew Barrymore plays that role of like, I'm not a fighter, I'm a lover. And so many people think they're so much better than everybody else because they're like, I'm a lover, I'm not a fighter. And then Keanu comes along and he makes this comment of like, if you're gonna be in love, if you're going to love, you have to be a fighter. You have to fight for that love. Otherwise, if you don't have a love to fight for, what kind of love do you have anyway? Right? Again, with those relationships. I'm not fighting for it. It doesn't have to be war, battle, physical fight. It could be vive la résistance. It can be through no action and meditation. It can be creative. Some things are whole only when they shatter. Setbacks. Just looking at things from another perspective. Thinking about my son here. When like being a mom. Right back to this Empress. Because it's like you say to your kid, hey, do this. No. Excuse me? You need to clean up your mess. You made a mess. We agreed that if you were to keep going with this game, that you would be the one putting all the things back. And he said, okay. And now that you're done playing this game, you don't get to go to the next game until you get to clean your stuff up. You need to clean your stuff up. No. No, Mom, don't talk. Go away, Mom. Don't talk. Just go over there, Mom, so I can watch my cartoons. Nope. That's not how things work around here. That's where we get out our loudspeaker and we say, clean up your stuff, right? And we walk through this cleaning up all of the things, and we don't move on to the next thing until all of the things are cleaned up. And it's just nothing but resistance this whole time. I mean, it's just like, creating more resistance and creating more difficulty where there doesn't need to be. Like putting a blanket on the bed. It's not difficult. You lift up a blanket, you put it down on the bed. Lay on the blanket and you're fighting it. You're trying to, you can't get it, to the edge of the bed. Oh, I can't do it. I'm going to do it. Okay, it's not going my way. I'm going to cry until you give me something. I hate that. I hate that so much. I hate people who are coercive, who are like, I'm going to give you something if you do something. Because now it comes to, especially with my son, he won't do something out of intrinsic motivation. He won't do something for the sake of helping other people. The only way he'll do something is if you give him something. It's so shitty, it's so gross, and it's so ugly, and it just disgusts me that my son is like that. Because I don't bribe him to do things. I'm not the person who's like, I'll give you candy if you get in my car, little boy. No. And I don't think you should ever teach children to get in a car for candy. That's the stupidest thing ever. Oh, I know you don't want to get in this car with me, and I know you don't want to give me, I know you don't want to be here with me. You don't want to get in this vehicle, but I'll give you candy if you go. I'll give you toys if you go. Gross, huh? I feel my most whole, I think, here at the bottom, or when things are kind of in a million pieces. Like in my studio, I mean, there's just like stuff everywhere. I live in a puzzle box, right? I like puzzle pieces. I love puzzles. I love putting puzzles together. I had a client years and years and years ago, very aggressive, violent client. She's so awesome. I could get her to do anything for me. I just putting in the work and putting in the time and vulnerability, right? And we bonded over puzzles. She loved to do puzzles. I love to do puzzles. And so we sit there and we do puzzles. I love puzzles. I've always loved doing puzzles. I'm really good at putting together puzzles. I can do them pretty quick. Untying knots, that's a puzzle. I can do those really fast. Really good at synthesizing information and putting pieces together. Okay? So please, 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 in these spaces where I'm telling you something and I'm trying to communicate something and I'm conveying something to you, please, please, please be open and receptive. Not just to me. I think there are a lot of people who are on this higher frequency who are trying to get you to match their frequency. There's another one for you too. Healers don't directly heal people, right? You can't walk into my office and expect that I'm going to perform some sort of miracle and I'm going to fix you, or anybody else for that matter. We heal from within, right? I can lead you there, I can guide you to the water, but unless you drink it, you're not getting hydrated. Alright? But in order to heal and to evolve and to get to that level, you have to match my energy. You have to match my frequency. And this is where I see a lot of people shutting down, setting themselves back, because they want somebody to do it for them. They want somebody to fix it for them, right? Somebody else will do it for me. Nobody else can do this for you. No compromise is a good compromise. Blemished origins do not negate flawless conclusions. Become ill with unhealthy perfectionism. Let's dig into Michelangelo a little bit more here. This is that reaching out. Reaching out and connecting to higher self and to higher spirit, right? But there's a disconnect there. There's a block there. He hasn't quite reached out all the way yet. You know, because somebody's probably standing there with a bat that's like, oh shit, you know. If I put that finger out, this thing is going to come swinging and it's going to hurt. However, I've made my connection. Once you've connected and once you've fused, you can't unlearn, you can't undo that, you can't take that back. You know? I'm just going to go... Okay. We all know someone who is a die-hard Mac lover. Ask them why they love their Mac. They won't tell you. Well, I see myself as someone who likes to challenge the status quo, and it's important for me to surround myself with the people, products, and brands that prove to the outside world who I believe I am. Biologically, that's what happened. But that decision was made in the part of the brain that controls behavior but not language. So they will provide a rationalization. It's the user interface, it's the simplicity, it's the design, it's the high quality. They're the best computers. I'm a creative person. In reality, their purchase decision and their loyalty are deeply personal. They don't really care about Apple. It's all about them. The same can be said for the people who love to work at Apple. Even employees can't put it into words. In their case, their job is one of the whats to their why. They too are convinced it's the quality of the products alone that is behind Apple's success. But deep inside, they all love being a part of something bigger than themselves. The most loyal Apple employees, like the most loyal Apple customers, all love a good revolution. A great raise and added benefits couldn't convince a loyal Apple employee to work for Dell, and no amount of cashback incentives and rebates could convince a loyal Mac user to switch to a PC. Many are already paying double the price. This is beyond rational. This is a belief. It's no accident that the culture at Apple is often described as a cult. It's more than just products. It's a cause to support. It's a matter of faith. Products are not just symbols of what the company believes. They also serve as symbols of what the loyal buyers believe. And so people are trying to sell you things based off of your belief systems, and they're manipulating you and setting you back, or whatever your setbacks could be, because your belief systems are being manipulated, or getting involved in something just because it's cool and it's popular, because everyone else is doing it, you know. Do I have any more out of these? Gustav Corre. Fight the power, paint the powerless. Show what you see, not what you saw. May your art help finance your legal fees. Somebody needs to make more art. I kind of like this one too. Don't hide your dirty sheets in the washer. Concentrate on finding, not losing yourself in art. Decay can be a fertilizer for new ideas. Again, setbacks. What is the function? There's so many things to kind of pick apart here, but we need to be like somewhat selective just to be conscientious and respectful of all of our time here. Otherwise I could be talking about this all day, but that's not going to be hopeful for any of us. Let's see. Let's look at Gustav first. And then we have all this like bloodshed stuff over here to get back into, so I'm kind of like building myself up to that here. In these setbacks, when things get set back so far and you have to like completely reframe, restructure, restart over everything, it's so frustrating and so annoying. But it's okay. Fight the power, paint the powerless. Back to that painting pictures of things, because there are people who will paint pictures of you in a negative light, right? So there's like those who paint to take power away from others, and there are those who paint to give power to those who don't have power. This is the arts consciousness thing. This is the responsibility to the collective, who should be the artists. Who are the artists? The artists in these old tribal cultures are the shamans and the healers. And in certain cultures, if you are not of this caliber, then you're put to death, because you're creating things that are setting the world back. You know, this isn't about an artist. This isn't about any like one particular person. This is a broad range of tarot card readings. This is gross generalization of archetypical situations as they relate to setbacks in a culture and a community. Okay. Gustave shocked the bourgeois by keeping things real. Instead of idealized or historical versions of life, he painted what was in front of him, namely everyday people, including prostitutes and their everyday bits, including an intimate close-up of where we all come from. Famous Courbet, known for the immediacy of his aesthetic, earned himself the reputation of founding realism and menacing society with his annoying beliefs about liberty. The annoying stuff. When it comes to the liberty, when it comes to justice, when it comes to talking about these things, it upsets people and it annoys people, because they create these facades for themselves, and they create these like safe little like bubbles for themselves to exist within. And if you come along and you try to expand and open that bubble and show them anything outside of that bubble, man, very few people are open to that, or are ready for that, I should say. Held responsible for rioting Parisians' destruction of the column in the Place Vendôme, celebrating Napoleon's career as conqueror, Courbet was jailed for 6 months and then fled to Switzerland to avoid more legal fees. He died prematurely, justified in his distrust of authority. There's kind of a lot about trust in this reading. There's kind of a lot about authority in this reading. Who are the authority figures in your life? I don't know if you should trust them. Like my son, he challenges my authority all the time. He's a growing kid. He should. So why do we not in all situations question authority? Or why wouldn't you be questioning it? The reason why you wouldn't be questioning authority is because there's something in that environment that is self-serving your own best interest. And so you're more consumed or distracted by fulfilling your own self-interests than standing up to or speaking out against an authoritarian or some sort of authority that is harming others, right? So, like, as long as this person is giving to you, it's okay that they harm others? Ask yourself that. Because I think there are a lot of people out there who are like, well, they didn't hurt me, they didn't do anything bad to me, so they're still popular in my book. So somebody has to do something bad to you directly in order for you to change your mind. But if they do something harmful to your friend or your family member, that's fine. It's probably justified, especially if that friend or family member is somehow a threat to you. Okay, Gustav, go. Setbacks. Legal fees. Yes, legal fees are huge setbacks. And people trying to push legal fees on you and put you in these situations where you have to defend and fight for your basic rights just as a mean to try to set you back. My guess is with Gustav, he either died early because somebody killed him or because of the stress of the situation, the autoimmune stuff that happens when things are constantly fighting us, constantly trying to put us down, constantly trying to like squash our expression. Ai Weiwei. Okay, Ai Weiwei. Back to this loudspeaker. I'm just curious if there's any feedback here. I don't know. Maybe this is an opportunity or a space to create conversation. If it's not, like putting questions down in the comment feed. Can I ask you to put down some sort of like insight or aha or something? To generate community. I don't know, to start sort with why. Okay. Despite big trouble with authorities, again, trouble with authorities. Oh. Authorities don't like it when you stand up to them. Or when you question them, they don't. At all. And some of them will try to destroy your life if you try to stand up to them. Okay, so despite big trouble, Ai Weiwei continues to work from Beijing, where his hobbies include political deviance and being interrogated. With deep roots in activism, AI's conceptual work taps into art history, world events, and occasional bouts of dark humor to address contemporary concerns about Chinese society. For his work Fairy Tale, he flew 1,001 Chinese citizens to Germany's famous quinquennial Documenta art exhibition. For dropping a Han Dynasty urn, he did good on the title's promise in apparent protest against cultural repression. However, when a Florida man there's that stage again, right? Staged an homage protest of his own, purposefully dropping and shattering one of Ai's vases on display at a Miami museum. Ooh, bully. Ai was not flattered and offered the man no tips on resisting arrest. If you've never had somebody come along and take or destroy something of yours, More like this situation, okay? So, in a work situation, I had taken it upon myself to take a little fledgling, so to speak, under my wing, and to give them as much knowledge and tools as I could. Turns out the little fledgling was a mouse, and if you give a mouse a cookie, they're going to push you out of your job and try to take your studio and your title and your position and everything that you have. And with this person who did that to me, I thought it was really funny the day we were at I was at a mutual friend's house, and this person walks in. Blinders. You know, until there's an acknowledgement of the shitty actions that was done and we can have a conversation and ask questions and figure out how to move on from this. Don't come to me trying to be my friend. Just don't. Right? So she walks in and is just like, oh, hi, how's it going? Ignore her. It's like, bitch, you pushed me out of my job, you fucking took my studio, you took this, you took that, you manipulated me, you underhandedly manipulated me in order to set me back at the time when I was most vulnerable, and you're gonna come into this room and you're gonna say hi? And she says a comment, or she makes a comment under her breath to herself, well, I guess, just like, say we're here by myself, or, I guess I'll just, I turn to her and I say, good idea. Wind her back up, right? Don't do pretense. I won't do it. Nope. And just like this. If somebody has done something to you intentionally to harm you, why would you help them? Why would you give them anything to make their life easier? And it's not like, you do anything about it, right? I was given permission to do whatever I wanted in this space. I can do whatever I want, whatever. This person apparently was gone and was never going to come back, and everything was up for grabs, and okay, I was given permission to express myself, and I did. Blemished origins do not negate flawless conclusions. It's the source of all things, right? The beginning, the why. So, although the conclusion or the result of it may look like there's nothing wrong, right? The whole reason why that situation is the way that it is because of a blemished origin, and one that is suppressed, and one that is covered, and one that is not acknowledged, one that isn't accounted for. And it's tough, because it's like, you can take a shitty situation and make something good come out of it. Does that make it okay? Or kind of put it back, let's put the power back in our court here. Because, am I perfect? Did I start out okay? No. Man, my origin story, the beginning of all of this and how we got to this point. Like, there's just so many flaws and so many mistakes and so many hurdles and obstacles and challenges and things and stuff that I had to overcome to get to this conclusion that I have today. That's a flawless conclusion as far as this is concerned here. But it can be the origin to something else too that can have its own faults. Like a teenager, I don't want to say teenager, but like somebody going through like a hormonal shift. Hormonal shift, is that something that's setting you back too? Hormonal shift, skin problems, going back to sugars and processed foods and being very mindful of what it is that you're putting into your body. Starting there as far as setbacks, because the body can heal itself, you know, and unless you can match this frequency and this belief system that you can heal yourself, and you're not going to heal yourself, which you can. It's absolutely possible. And been doing this research for a long time and have witnessed and heard stories too, and just have seen some people overcome very difficult things in incredibly miraculous ways, and it's consciousness. It's the difference. It's this. I don't know if I want to look at Michelangelo anymore. Let's go back to this. Let's go into the moon. I read something this morning. I was like, alright, see the moon. Where's the moon? So new moon, new beginnings. No, this is go back to Michelangelo, and I just don't want to. Because when we start, why? Because when we start getting into, draw on private, paying to connect with whatever, and we start diving into my private life and, tapping into this pain body. It requires of me a lot of energy. It just does. It's fine. It's important. And it's necessary because people don't talk about this stuff. People don't talk about, okay, I'm just going to put this in front of you and we can move on to the next one. 2 well-known sculptors had already given up chiseling David, claiming the provided marble was too blemished for the requisite sexiness of the final product. Michelangelo took over the project and dropped his proverbial mic by crafting a vision of heaven by way of defined male abs. Showing how it's done was a reprise throughout Michelangelo's life. A depressive perfectionist with a die-hard work ethic, he fired the staff helping him paint the Sistine Chapel ceiling because they weren't him, and finished the damn thing himself. Oh man, I can relate. When it comes to painting the pictures and creating the artwork of the things, that look at back to this, like the origins again, and the origins of the artists, and the first artists in the tribes being the shamans or the holy people, right? And there's this story I have. I love to share this one. So this kid's watching the shaman, and he learns, oh, I mean, all I have to do is draw the picture of the buffalo on the wall, and all the buffaloes show up, and this guy only called in, 5 buffalo to feed the whole tribe, it's just barely enough to sustain us. I want to have a feast. I want everybody to have more than they need, I'm going to summon in 500 buffalo. And so he summons in 500 buffalo, and everybody has this big feast, and they're like, wow, there's just gluttony and excess, and then what happens? And they have too much, and then there's rotting, and then they have too much, so then it calls in more predators, and then predators come, and then they put the tribe at risk, and then what happens next year? They go to call in the buffalo, but there aren't enough buffalo because they wasted too much last year, and so now I have people starving this year. There's no responsibility because people think with their ego that they can come in and they can just do whatever they want without having a deeper understanding of the balance and the harmonics and the structure and the way things work, and they start doing things based out of ego, everything up, right? It creates all these setbacks and these situations that are, like Michelangelo probably fired all those other people because it was setting him back. He was probably having to go back through and fix everybody's mistakes. Talk about a waste of time and getting into like arguments and people here paint it like this. No, I don't want to paint it like that. I'm gonna do it my way. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. Like, I need you to paint it like this. This is the way. No. I'm just gonna do it however I want. I'm gonna do a sloppy half-ass job, and that's gonna be fine. Some people are okay with sloppy half-ass jobs. That's fine. Some people are okay with like, a piece of duct tape wrapped halfway around a pole or a pipe or whatever to try to hold it together. That's not gonna hold it together. It's not gonna be sturdy. It's not gonna be stable. Some people are okay with that because it's easy, because it somehow boosts and elevates their own authority. But here we are in this space where we're challenging the status quo, challenging authority, standing up to those things that are oppressing us, that are setting us back, that are holding us back, and acknowledging these instances and circumstances and situations that are causing and creating harm. Although it cost him his health, the Sistine Chapel, including the Last Judgment, is but one example of Michelangelo's unparalleled genius. Okay. Let's start wrapping up setbacks, but with the heavy emotional stuff, okay? We've kind of worked up to it, we've built up to it. There have been a couple of tools in here so far that you can use in order to navigate our way out of this and through this. But we're talking about setbacks and the angst and the emotional body and the emotional difficult things and the social situations and the community situations that are setting back humanity. This means, yes, to propel us forward. Okay, let's look at the moon. There's a duality in this moon. A lion and a dove. Women, females. The woman with the lion on her chest, on her torso. I mean, she's ripped. Look at her. Super ripped. She's got this lion. She's got this sword. She's got like this full moon behind her. She's in her power. She's got all these, what was the word used earlier? Appendages kind of going out every which way, right? She's open, and she's supporting this other woman up here. She's elevating this other woman up here, who, if we look at it this way, we have this brunette and then we have this redhead here. And so this redhead here is this one, the brunette. She's very open pose, open body. Okay. This redhead is very closed. She's guarding and protecting her heart, which is covered by this white dove, because she wants to be that true Barrymore of, I'm a lover, not a fighter. I'm all good. But look, she's also got her hand over her mouth. There's no moon behind her. There's no emotion behind her. What is that? I don't know if those are like candles, broken rod. I don't know if she's like a witch or practices witchcraft or something like that. She's got her eyes closed too. The other one's got her eyes open. But this one here, although it looks very peaceful and calm and demure on the outside, it's very manipulative. Whereas this one, although it's very strong and bold and open and wild on this way, it's very just. And the just one is supporting the manipulative one. Interesting, huh? But they're kind of both experiencing the same thing, or maybe experiencing the same authority, though having different responses to it. One is having a response of standing up to the authority and the bad things that are happening. The other one is in the position with the authority to benefit herself and not others. Like, that's purely pure self-promotion right there, hidden under this like very demure, soft exterior. You know, like I can relate in this way of where like being this wild woman, you know, being the one with the guns. I mean, look at this. Whoosh. Oh, right? Those are my arms. Because I have this lion heart. Strong heart, strong mind, strong sense of justice. And I'm not afraid to speak my truth or speak up against things that are wrong and not working. Or just because it's this on the outside, people are like, oh, there must be a bad person over there. They're not peaceful and demure and trained like a lady to be good. And they don't get this perfect little lady thing. And so therefore, we can't support her. We can't get involved because she's not being a lady right. When in all actuality, this is probably the most nurturing, peaceful person, realistic person that you're gonna have there. But people want the demure thing. They don't want their delicate little bubbles challenged. This kind of makes this make sense, you know, or like I just can't help but feel like somebody just wants to unalive me. I don't know who or whose or whatever, but I've just learned to trust this sensation and these feelings over the years, and it just feels like there's at least 2, maybe 3 people out there who just don't want me to be alive. That feels weird. That's a weird energy. If I keep asking questions and I keep looking into it, I can figure it out. This isn't the space for it. The goddess Inanna's journey into the darkness of her subconscious and her resurrection after being killed by her sister, Reshkigal. Right? So this person that decided to push me out and then take what was mine also had made a headstone, a tombstone of me with my face on it. And some sort of spiritual plane, spiritual level, like I can't help but like feel like this person killed part of me, like in this, you know, that was a while ago. And so over the last several years, or the last few years, and going through this, rebirthing, phoenix, whatever, this resurrection thing. And coming back out of that, and that whole like reborn again thing, that in that recovery space. There's just so much in there to process. It's not like it's the first time somebody's trying to harm me or whatever. I had a neighbor growing up as a kid who she used to like take my CDs or whatever out of my mailbox. You know, I used to be able to like order CDs from the mail. She used to like take my CDs all the time. Broke into my house to let her brother in while I was in the shower, so her brother saw me while I was in the shower. Like shot me in the neck with a BB gun. Like there's probably more, and it's just like that's not the only time I've been shot at either, or had somebody shoot me. The other time I was shot at was when I was living in Oakland. And I didn't have a car, you know, so I'd have to walk to work. And so I have to walk from Oakland to like Emeryville, Berkeley. I remember crossing the street, you know, just minding my business like I do. I go everywhere, like alone. Kind of a lone ranger, you know, headphones on, backpack, you know, a good pair of shoes, boots, or whatever, you know, I can meander out into the world and just live my life. It's one of my favorite things to do. I love it. I love boots and a backpack and just exploring. It's fucking phenomenal, especially in like big cities and stuff. I love it. And here I am, you know, walking to work, and I cross the street, and I hear blah, 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 blah. You know, I'm like to the wall in front of me. Granted, it's paintballs down the length of my body, like along the side, and I look back into like this little corner mart or something, and there's this, you know, group of young guys. Maybe 4, 5, 6 of them or something like that, laughing their asses off because they had just shot at me. It was a paintball, or it was paintballs or whatever, and they didn't hit me. But I knew what that gesture meant. And this is too, like, at a time, I'm sharing pain to connect, because this card keeps coming up for me, so I feel like I gotta talk about these difficult things I've gone through. But this is after moving into a place with a friend and colleague, and the day before I move in, or right before I move in, or whatever, she ends up getting held up at gunpoint right in front of where we're gonna live, where I'm gonna live. You know, she's been living here for a while. She was held up at gunpoint and robbed. You know, and like, okay, back to the moon. This is the death of the superego and the false self we have built to contain or mitigate our true feelings. The moon is strength found in connection to the subconscious. Dreams, the dark night of the soul. There is fear in facing and knowing your true self, but there is much empowerment to be found when you do. That's what a lot of this openness and vulnerability and the setbacks are. A lot of people get set back because they don't know who they really are. They try to be what everybody else wants them to be, or they try to portray themselves as this character. I see it in the arts all the time because people change their names a lot within the arts, or they go by pseudonyms. And it's always been interesting to me. Like, they play or pretend to be or become somebody else or take on another name in order to do something. And I think there's like two different paths that can go down. There are those who have like the spiritual encounter, spiritual awakening, where they feel they need to take on a new name that represents their higher mission. That's good. That's great. That's very geared towards activism and elevating people and stepping into a resonant frequency that's more in alignment with that work and that path. And there are others who don't like their name or don't like an aspect of themselves, so they decide to change part of their name, change their name, or give themselves a new name so that they can pretend to be somebody they're not. And that's difficult because they don't really know themselves, like doing the numerology of the names, or like who, when you're looking in the mirror and you're trying to puzzle piece these things together, who are you puzzle piecing yourself together as? Because I can guarantee you, people of that like first category, of that spiritual nature, who take on a new name to do the work, they've gone through some sort of ceremony, or there's been, I don't want to use the word ritual, but there's been some sort of sacrifice made, or there's been something ceremonially that makes that work happen and does that transition. And then there are the others who again, just do it all for rote and no meaning, or do it to try to hide or try to just be something else. And that's curious to me. I don't know why Hollywood is popping up in my mind, because there's these personas and characters and these things that are trying to play or be something or do something for egoic gain or some sort of like fame or fortune, and that doesn't help people. No? Okay. So if it comes up reversed, I'm gonna look at these other two reversed, and then we'll smudge and then close this off and then clear this out today, because we've been here for a little while. When it shows up reversed, okay, so we talked about this side of it, knowing your true self and being empowered in your true self when you understand, and then this side of it. When this card appears, you may be avoiding the call of your subconscious or receiving signs that you cannot understand. This is fear of the unknown, darker self, a facade of everything's okay, overgrowing doubts. Be wary of disregarding coincidences or dreams. These are our subconscious trying to make itself heard. My guess is most people don't analyze their dreams or break apart or seek for the symbolism in their dreams, or interpret their dreams. I can help you with that too. I can help you interpret dreams. I love it. But there's a lot of really great clues in there if you know what to look for. There's kind of like a trick, I guess, to getting a taste for somebody's subconscious. I don't want to call it a trick. A tip for experiencing somebody's subconscious. When you're sleeping with them or next to them. Especially if you kind of put it in your energetic frequency of decoding or dissolving, that subconscious will speak, like people who talk in their sleep. If you're around somebody who talks in their sleep and you ever listen to what it is that they're saying, you can get some pretty profound insights into their subconscious. Like this one time, I had a boyfriend who had stayed over for the first time. And this should have been one of those things where, like, I don't know, never mind. But he had fallen asleep on my bed and was talking in his sleep. And being with him for a while, and he's talking to sleep all the time and just like fight all kinds of demons and stuff. And it just broke my heart because there's just so many dark forces that they were battling subconsciously that were never brought up in the daylight, never brought up in waking life, that I think could have had a profound impact on our relationship. The first time they stayed the night with me, we're talking in their sleep. It was one of those things or whatever. And it's like, I'll fucking kill you! It was so scary. So scary. It was a little traumatic too for me. But that was hard. But that was like one of those like, whoa. Talk about getting into somebody's subconscious. And who knows who they were talking to, battling, fighting, or whatever, or anything like that, you know. I can't get into somebody's head, and I don't know exactly what that dream was about, but you're sleeping next to somebody and they're like fighting off demons and things in their sleep, you know, and that's tough, okay? I've also been in situations and relationships where, in my own stress, because I've been known to talk in my sleep too, I don't know what, or like when I was a young kid I used to walk in my sleep. I have an aunt who used to walk in her sleep too. But there was a time, again when I was like 18, I was working, just gotten out of high school, and I was working 2 jobs, you know, trying to save up money so I could move out, and I was traveling between Reno and Carson, and so big commuting, you know, and I'd wake up at early in the morning to get to my first job at 5:30 in the morning when I worked at Mervyn's. And then I'd work all day, I'd work a full shift doing that, and then I'd get off work, grab something to eat, and I'd go drive to Reno, and then go work my shift over at the Sienna, because I had gotten a job host cashiering for a little coffee shop inside of this casino, you know, and I'd have to work late, and I'd work until, you know, 11 o'clock, midnight some nights, and I'd have to drive all the way back, and that's, you know, 30-minute drive, 30-minute commute. That's a long commute. And I did this for months and months on end. And I remember arriving at my boyfriend's parents' house late one night or whatever, he was still living there. You know, I stayed the night with him, and in my dream, I was doing my job. I was host cashiering. You know, I was at work. And it freaked him out because I was sitting up in my dream, sitting up, and I was talking, and I was doing things, and it freaked him out, so he woke me up. You see somebody sleepwalking and talking in their sleep, don't wake them up in the middle of it. Redirect them to, like, go back to sleep. Don't wake them up. Because of this. He woke me up. And I had, like, no idea where I was, you know, I didn't know what was going on. I had, like, 2 realities kind of simultaneously merging, and I, like, freaked out and had a panic attack, because, you know, I think I was sleeping naked or something, and I thought I was naked at work, and it just took me a long time to, like, figure out what reality was. So that subconscious, man, it's powerful, and if you're not, taking care of your body and you're putting yourself under all this stress in the environment and not acknowledging the things that are bothering you, harming you, whatever, I mean, it's going to come out one way or another. So let's talk about these two and then we'll get out of here. So we have 5 cups and 6 swords, because these are setbacks and these are things that are holding us back. Okay, we'll do this one first, and then we'll do this one. This one triggers me a bit because I've got my unicorn over there. Right? Unicorn, can you see it? I got my unicorn. And here we are talking about all of these challenging, tricky things. And I don't want to make this like... It doesn't matter what I want to make. This isn't like Kelsey Sweet time. This isn't, you know, Kelsey Sweet is not welcome in here. This is God's work here. So we only use the Kelsey Sweet as a model to draw on private pain in order to connect with the public. Okay? That's nothing personal. 5 cups. Cups, emotions. These came out reversed, but in this, except for the major arcana, the major arcana gives you both reversed and what, but this only kind of gives us one interpretation of them, which I kind of like. So we'll go from that. Okay. Again, the theme is setbacks. Okay. What is setting you back? In life, love, work, money, any of it. What? Okay. What are we? 5. Strife, disillusionment, and emotional conflict. You must let go of an unfulfilled expectation, even if it is painful for you. Oh man, expectations are the worst. I think expectations can generate betrayal too. But not like the only thing or whatever. That's just, I don't know, somebody needed that. Where'd it go? The 5 of Cups invites you to see people as they are, not as you hoped them to be. This is where I get myself in trouble all the time because I have a tendency to idealize people and relationships, and I can see what people are capable of as much as I can like see into all the other things or whatever. I can see all the good things too, and the things that can be dark and scary, and so I can like, you know, have a tendency to like kind of like, I don't want to acknowledge that person. Like I really want this person to be a good person this time. I really want these to be good people because I'm surrounding myself with good people, right? Okay. Letting go of that idealized vision is painful but necessary. Take a moment to mourn the loss of what could have been, but accept that which is. Setbacks, okay? Trying to make things something that they are not acknowledging things for what they really and truly are. And again, just being disillusioned by these facades, by your own facades, by calling something that it's not, whether it's your name or some name you're trying to call somebody, or like, you know, some sort of label you're trying to give somebody. 5 is about changes, right? Change and momentum. If what we're striving for is like this harmonious, idealized world of peace and love and harmony and, you know, balance and unity and perfection and, you know, okay. This is 5. It's half of 10, but 5, it's the midway point. It's that point where action begins to happen, where change begins to happen, right? Where the blood begins to flow. know, is there like a chrysanthemum in there or something? I want to look more into this card and more into that card, and then I'm done. I'm going to flush this. I'm going to smudge everything out. I'm going to go put my feet in some dirt, and I'm going to stick my hands into some dirt, and then I'm going to spend the rest of my day in my art studio making art and hoping that the writing words come out. There's so much to talk about. There's so much to say. There's so much to do. But I'm dealing with a lot of setbacks. A lot of people are dealing with a lot of setbacks. So we're trying to explore what those setbacks are. Don't idealize things, right? Deal with it as they are. The radical acceptance. Like, sometimes things are just shitty. Sometimes people will try to betray your friendship, undermine your job, destroy your computer, sleep with your boyfriend or whatever, and then, you know, build you a tombstone, kick you out, talk shit behind your back, do everything they can to destroy your connections and to get people to think you're like a horrible, shitty person. That says more about them than it does about you. That self-discipline, that self-awareness, that strength has to come from within, and knowing who you really are and who you are, and being solid and being very grounded in that. Okay, so then let's talk about this. The setbacks. Okay. These are like internal setbacks. This is like deluding yourself, right? This is you telling yourself that things are okay when they're not. Or enabling things like, it wasn't that bad, so okay, whatever, I'm just not going to do anything about it, right? And the people who may be dealing with you in this sort of way too, right? Discounting or dismissing, or like, my favorite one, other people have it worse than you do. I know you want our support, and I know you've gone through these difficult things, but other people have it worse than you do, so everything about you, therefore, then is negated and goes right out the window because some sort of standard, in order to help people, has to look like what? So people might not be helping you and supporting you based off of their own biases and belief systems, not because if there's anything that you've done. 6 Swords. This card is just like, triggers me. Trigger. I'm gonna smudge it. Smudge first, and then we'll talk about it, okay? Because this one is just very upsetting. It's got a sword through the leg, through like the hind, like through the thigh, to prevent forward motion, right? And look at these like 2 hooded cloaked figures with their backs turned. So they're, again, at least 2, maybe 3, the ones that want you dead, right? Or who want you to be unalive. The external forces, there are at least 2. They're cloaking themselves, they're disguising themselves, and they're not showing their faces, they're turning their back. It's like one of those things of like, oh, knock all the shit over, like, oh, wasn't me. I didn't see it happen, I don't know what happened. It's like, fucking bitch, you're the one that fucking pulled the fucking rug out from underneath everything. But because you can be cloaked and you can disguise yourself and you can hide yourself and turn your back to it, all of a sudden, like, this doesn't matter. This isn't the setback, and this is what you're left with, and you're left to just have to, like, deal with this? Oh my god. Like, are people out there really that cruel? Are the people out there really that jealous? Like, they just don't want to see you happy and see you succeed? So they do all these really shitty things to you to try to keep you down? Really? Is that really the world that we live in? Yeah. Unfortunately. Even, like, makes it onto the thing here. Man, this poor little unicorn here just looks unhappy. A little pissed off there, don't you think? I I'd be pretty upset and angry too if somebody physically harmed me or did something to harm me to intentionally hold me back. Yeah, I'd be mad too. We're smudging it, smudge it, smudge it, smudge it. I'm calling the sweetgrass for this one, because if I go into this with anything at all that is not pure and good, it's gonna leave me pretty upset for the rest of the day. And I am over being in this frame of mind or place of mind or mindset of giving my power away to other people. I'm over it. I'm really, really tired of giving people the benefit of the doubt, because at the end of the day, there's just no energy left for me, and this is exhausting. And I just don't need that in my life anymore. Maybe I needed it before to show me something, tell me understand something. Unnecessary but painful change. Okay. It's not radical acceptance. Sometimes we have to go through these things because it's part of the process. You live in this third dimensional reality where there's a lot of pain and torture and war and famine and, you know, horrible authoritarians and just people who intentionally want to harm and suppress and oppress other people. You know, not everybody, no. But there are enough people out there where it's worthy of conversation, where we need to talk about this, because it goes unspoken, it gets swept under the rug, and then problems don't get solved, and problems are perpetuated, and we are... Why? We start here with why. Why? We do this why? Because people can do better. Because people need to heal. Right? Ooh, real big headache with this one. Ugh. I'm just gonna... I can feel them now. And I can feel the ones who are like, oh my god, did you hear what she said? And oh my god, I think it's the thing. And then like people are gonna be like, oh, da 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 da, and they're gonna pass it on to somebody else, and something's gonna get distorted there along the way. Yes, because there are people who watch you, observe you, follow you without you knowing it, just so they can take pieces of information to you and then like go relay it to somebody else who is trying to harm you. So if you're one of those people who is taking any of my information and who's trying to relate anything that I put out there, and you're trying to relay it down a line to somebody who wants to harm me, go fuck yourself. Like, grow the fuck up. Come talk to me like a grown up, like an adult, like a fucking spiritual human body with a presence, and let's figure out how to resolve and create solutions to things. Because why? Because we create solutions here. We don't perpetuate problems. We don't generate problems. We're looking for solutions. Okay, so if you're going to come into this space, or you're going to come into my life and come into my field and try to create any problems for me or anybody else, go get fucked. Like, fuck off. Fuck off to the ends of the earth and go fucking hit your face at rock bottom. When you can bounce back up and come at me with humility and integrity, then we can have a conversation about evolving and moving forward. But until then, don't come into my space as an attempt to try to tear me down. Go get fucked. I'm tired of it. I'm over it. I'm really tired of fucking shitty people coming in my space, other people's spaces, other whatever, to try to manipulate shit and be whatever, to elevate themselves and boost themselves off, doing really shitty, gross stuff. Like all the P. Diddy stuff that's going around right now, like fucking gross. And we idolize these people, and we give these people so much money and so much fame and fortune, and they're fucking horrible, shitty ass people. But they portray themselves, and they put on this set, and they put on this show like everything is good and everything is grand, and you fall for it. you trust fall. You trust fall right into fucking hell. Okay? A necessary but painful change after hard truths are realized. Dark night of the soul. It's not easy. The whole first part of my life, the whole first third of my life was being born into and walking through and going through the dark night of the soul and having to climb myself out of hell. Like, the amount of shit that I've had to go through in my life to get to the point that I am now, like, dark night of the soul, honey bunny. I've got so many tools, so many lights, so many guiding principles and ways out of this darkness. You wouldn't believe it. So I create this container as safe space, as designated safe space, so that we can talk about how to get out of the dark night of the soul and step into our greatest, highest, best self, our self-actualized self, our star self. But because of the setbacks in my life, in order for me to get there and to help you get there, we have to go through this together. I had to bring myself back into this together so that we can talk about this from this private pain to connect to the public space. To show, because we lead through example, we lead through this, and it's not like, here's some just random white lady trying to, tell you what to do, because she opens books and here's cards. This is decades and decades of knowledge and experiences and tools and resources and a lot of things that I think I've probably just kind of taken for granted, or I don't really realize that a lot of people don't have. So I'm, listening to the call to action to stand into this place to do it, and I'm kind of procrastinating and putting off this card because it just makes me sick to my stomach. Okay, you are seeing things clearly, perhaps for the first time, but clarity is a cold comfort. As you leave behind the comfortable yet false, take a moment to mourn the loss of this reality, even if it was imperfect. This is a call to improve your understanding of yourself and the world around you. Your assumptions were tested and most likely failed. I found this other, meme thing this morning. I think I posted it on Art and the Sex Scene too. Maybe I'll just, post it over to my regular page, just for shits and giggles. I mean, if it resonates. But it's this picture. I don't know who the creator of all this content is, but I love it. But it's along the lines of here's the galactic background with some sort of spiritual joking commentary. I like the dark humor a lot. I love humor. I think it's really important. Laughter's the key to manifestation. It's this little boy. He's got a suitcase and he's just bawling his eyes out. And he's waving goodbye, and the caption to it is me saying goodbye to my current state of mind as I'm evolving to my next level. It's just okay to mourn that loss. And I think with all the esoteric energy that came through last week, or whatever came down the pipeline last week and led into this weekend, I can feel it. I've gained a level of clarity in the last week that I've been missing or looking for now for a while, and I mean, even today I can kind of feel it too, but yesterday, it's just in a period of mourning. Because you get so invested into people, they become your family, they become parts of your identity, you put your time and your energy into, say, these, lower vibrational dimensions. And as you evolve and ascend and your vibration vibrates higher, you vibrate higher, and you realize that those lower vibrations don't come with you. And you know that the best thing is to release and move forward. Okay? Like, you know you gotta move forward. You can't just stay here in this space. Whew. Wow, setbacks are hard. But it's like relief too, of knowing that you're free. Because when you're at these lower vibrations and there's all this pressure on you, right? Or all this suppression on you, oppression on you, and you're meant to like hold everything in and keep everything in, right? You have to put on the right things, and you have to like show up in a way, and all that stuff is inside, and it's like fermenting or growing or whatever it's doing there. It's living. It's there. When you increase your vibration, you break free of those limitations and those blocks, right? It's not this dense thing keeping and containing these things in. All of a sudden there's gaps and spaces in this web where there are interstices that we can expand through. We can take all this stuff that's been smushed and hidden in there, and we can filter it out. The unsponge, right? If you're a sponge, you soak it all up. This is like the unsponge, where everything that isn't you and your essence is filtered out, right? You have this filter, this almost like a sieve or something like that, where finally you have this breakthrough, right? You break through that limiting dimension, limiting lower vibrational dimension into a higher dimension where things are expanded and things are less dense and concentrated. There's more air and there's more breathing room, there's more flexibility, there's more space. There's some people who are like, oh no, you want space, shove it down and like condense it even more. And it's just like, no, I need expansion, I need room to stretch out, I need to, okay. Did we get everything out of the 6 swords here? It's okay, it's part of it. I'm not gonna get into this like victim mentality, like survivor, victim, like we're just gonna chuck that out. We're just gonna chuck that program out, okay? This isn't about winning and losing. This isn't about victim perpetrator. This isn't about that. That's a lower level, dense concentration, vibrational frequency. We're not there. We're not here. We're not playing that. We're expanding up outside of that. Okay. I'm looking at things from more clear, globalized perspective, an integral perspective, an integrated perspective. I went to 6 of Cups, and I should be on Swords. But I guess kind of as a follow-up to this, because I really wanted this to be Cups too, but it's not, it's Swords. I'm just going to read you 6 of Cups. Inner peace, reintegration of the self. We're talking about integration, reintegration of the self. Kindness, be kind. Just because somebody sets a boundary with you and tells you no or won't give you what you want doesn't mean they're being unkind. So stop treating them like they're mean and abusive. Okay? Do not come into my space, do not pursue me into my bubble, and then come in here and then try and tell me that I'm an abusive person because I won't do things the way that you want me to do them for you, or because I won't sleep with you, or because I won't give you what you're looking for, or because I won't acquiesce to your demands, or because I tell you no and set a firm boundary. Okay? Get out of here with that bullshit too. Okay? This isn't like oh, Kelsey is saying things and talking about things that are making me feel vulnerable and exposed, so let's attack her and try to put her down and bring her down and try to keep her from having things. We're not doing this here. This is not a space where we're trying to attack or bring harm or cause harm upon anybody. Okay, this is a safe container for you to process the things that are very difficult to process in order to evolve and transform and to heal. Okay, there are setbacks in life. It's difficult. The truths are going to be uncomfortable, but that doesn't make them bad. So just because something makes you uncomfortable doesn't mean that it's bad. But again, that double-edged sword thing, I mean, there's kind of two sides to all of this here. So the Six of Cups, however, marks a resolution of past traumas stemming from childhood. Not everything has to be perfect, okay? Let go and accept yourself as an evolving being who has come so far already. Once we get into this next level of expansion and evolution, this higher frequency, it's not done yet. We keep going and going and going and going because energy is neither created nor destroyed. We just keep evolving. Okay? Forgive yourself for things that were most likely not your fault in the first place. And feel comfortable in your own skin. It's alright. Setbacks, okay? Don't blame yourself if it wasn't your fault, okay? The shittiest thing my mom's ever said to me in regards to my traumas and the things is all your problems are all your own fault. Like, go get fucked. I'm not the creator of the universe, okay? There are people who have intentionally done things to intentionally harm me, and that is not my fault. Just because somebody comes into this, or comes into my space and does something to me, or does something in a way that makes me uncomfortable, or does something, it's not because that's my fault. I put this to the test, like, as a woman dealing with sexual assault, right? Like, the times that I've been harassed, abused, assaulted, whatever, violated, they weren't times when I was asking for it. It's not times when I was, like, standing there butt naked, like, hey, I'm asking for it. No, these are all times when it's just, like, walking in scrubbed, covered head to toe of, like, F off, don't talk to me. And they walk in here and out come shitty opinions, or, what was a recent one? Oh, I know you told me you had a boyfriend, but people break up. Let me talk to you about taking you to Cabo. Oh, I don't want you to take me to Cabo. This is supposed to be a business professional relationship. Why are you bringing up my boyfriend? Why are you even insinuating at all that I would even be interested or pursue something like that? Because I'm sitting here having a conversation with you now? Like, I'm more than this. And there's information inside that's kind of important that people would like to, evolve from, but they don't. They want to go the opposite direction and make assumptions about why I would be in a certain place. But again, start with why. Don't make assumptions about anybody else's why. In this realm, of this space, in the social media land, I have so many people, I won't say so many, but there are people in my life that assume that I do this for reasons that are not at all in alignment with why I do this. But they treat me like the other way. And I don't want to believe that I do this for this reason. I want to believe I do this for this reason. I do this for attention. I do this because I have to. Right? This is my calling. Everything. Because I have information, I have knowledge, I have things to give to people that I don't know how to give them any other way. Okay? This isn't about me. Okay, again, Kelsey Sweet, you're not welcome in here. This is God's work. Okay? about me and about that. It's because I'm a woman. I mean, if I were a man, people would treat me a lot different. If I were doing the things that I do, the way that I do them as a man, people would be treating me different. You know? And I know this because being a woman who has tried to adjust and change everything it is about myself in order to gain some sort of safety and acceptance, no matter what I do to try to fit in or to try to people please and appease or to try to be normal, it just doesn't work out for me. It just doesn't. I try really, really hard to like be anything other than this. To not stand out, to not like draw attention to myself, to not be me. Because my whole life people told me being me was somehow wrong, bad, whatever, because I'm not normal. This is just inherent whatever stuff, inherent trait stuff. It's all bullshit is what it is. Absolute bullshit, right? People do that because they want to keep themselves comfortable. They don't like catalysts. I am a catalyst. Okay? Come into an environment and things start changing around me, whether I like it or not. So I embrace it with reverence. Gut decisions don't happen in your stomach. The principles of the Golden Circle are much more than communications hierarchy. Its principles are deeply grounded in the evolution of human behavior. The power of why is not opinion, it's biology. Okay? I don't do this because I want to. I do this because it's my biology. It's in my nature. It's in my charts, it's in my graphs, it's in all the personality profiling, it's in all of that says do this. So I'm doing this. Okay? If you look at a cross-section of the human brain from the top down, you see that the levels of the Golden Circle correspond precisely with the three major levels of the brain. Do you want to know about this part? I'll show you the infographic because it's how, or the why, how, and what, right? So the why is the limbic brain, the what is the neocortex. This is bringing science to the woo-woo, right? Sure, there's woo-woo in this, but at the same time, I'll just pull this out of my ass. Okay, this is well thought out, well researched. The newest area of the brain, our Homo sapien brain. Pause for a second. Homo sapiens, we are evolving into Homo luminous. Do we get to evolve a new section of the brain, or do we get to tap into a new section of the brain, the Homo luminous brain? What does that do? Okay. Again, the title, this is not opinion. This is biology. Now the star-belly sneeches had bellies with stars. The plain belly sneeches had none upon theirs. Those stars weren't so big, they were really so small. You might think such a thing wouldn't matter at all. Then, quickly, Sylvester McMonkey McBean put together a very peculiar machine, and he said, "You want stars like a star-belly sneech? My friends, you can have them for $3 each." The newest area of our brain, our Homo sapien brain, is the neocortex, which corresponds with the what level. The neocortex is responsible for rational and analytical thought and language. So if it's why, how, what, then comes to mind as far as the luminous brain, then what? Or maybe a who? A who then? Why, how, what, who are you? The neocortex, responsible for rational and analytical thought and language. The middle two sections comprise the limbic brain. The limbic brain is responsible for all of our feelings, such as trust and loyalty. It's also responsible for all human behavior and all our decision making, but it has no capacity for language. Language comes from verbal behavior. So maybe there's a bridge there in verbal behavior and how we use words. Did I get through this one already? Yeah. Okay. Is there anything else here that we need? I'll pull one out of the conjure cards and then we'll shut this down for the day. You can reach out to me for private readings anytime. I've got all day today. Today's a pretty good day. I can work remote, that's fine. If you're called to it, sure, please. You can write to me, I'll write you something back. You can set up a video chat with me, that's fine. If you just want to talk on the phone or something, that's fine too. But know that you will be called to match a higher vibrational frequency. If you do, a lot of people aren't ready to be challenged yet, so they don't want to come into this space. But if you're ready, I'm ready for you. I'm going to conjure. That's all new chapter. Oh, I know I said I would go into the crow. Crow or conjure? Let's do this way. Okay, not the crow. Not much energy. We'll pull on the conjure. I'm gonna call it. If you want to know what's in the Crow Tarot for you, book a call with me today. Okay. Is it? Me, mama, like a wagon wheel. Hunt me, mama, any way you feel. Hey, mama, rock me. Rock me, mama, like the wind in the rain. Rock me, mama, like a southbound train. Hey, mama, rock me. Do you know that song? Do you sing that song? Are you listening to this? I want to cry again. One more. Okay. I don't really know if I've ever pulled this card. If I tell you this one, then I have to pull a third one too. I like pulling at odds. It popped out, started singing to me, so I will. Whatever's making me want to cry. I'm gonna get a choice of two. Okay, I get a choice of two, then make a wish. Whacking wheel. I'm not sure that I want to go into that pain body setback thing as far as relationships and stuff go. Seven of Spades and a blood drop. Blood drop, teardrop. Funny, because we've had a lot of blood spilled, a lot of bloodshed. Reconditioning blood. Bloodletting comes to mind too. Cleansing the blood. Eat grains. Be mindful of the water you're drinking. The dream of blood. Oh, to dream of blood signifies loss or war. Something lost that leaves grief in its wake. reversed, it shows the return of stolen property or some other thing that was taken from you physically, emotionally, mentally, or spiritually. Let's offer a return of something that was taken. We go to these diamonds. Absolutely, we can put that in this energetics toroidal field of magnetizing that which was lost, so long as it's in our highest good, but things being returned. I've had a lot stolen from me over the years. You know, I think back to this neighbor that shot me in the neck with a BB gun, you know, because she used to steal my CDs. Or even another neighbor's friend who had broken into my house or whatever to, again, steal all my CDs. I had a boyfriend try to go and get him back, some of my CDs that were stolen. But the chick that stole him, threatened to kick him in the nuts and went to, like, go and physically, like, assault him. So he pushed her back and she fell down. Ended up in the hospital with a shattered tailbone, to which she decided to file a police report, so that months later, come to find out, he had a warrant on his arrest because he had pushed this girl for stealing my CDs. My CDs were never returned. My friend, whose house it was, not the one who stole from me, never stood up for me, never got him back for me, never stood up to that other bully chick to help me out, even though she had been in environments where she was with my CDs and could have taken them and returned them to me, but she didn't, because it was more important to her maybe to appease the popular one than it was to create justice in the situation. That feels like a theme that's played out a lot of ways. Oh, Jack Diamonds, Wagon Wheel. We all know that song sung originally by the old Crow Medicine show. Interesting, because we're talking about sets, shows, crows, medicine and healing. I don't know. Correlations or synchronicities or whatever. There's something in there. Beyond words. The words are only going to do so much in this space. Everything else in this space is purely energetic. So if you're attuning yourself to this energetic frequency, good things will come. Okay, healing will come, alignment will happen. It's just a natural resonance in this space. Yes? Yeah. And then redone by Darvis Rucker. It speaks of a reunion. And this one is things being returned to. It speaks of a reunion, a young man, and a beautiful girl. When my mama taught me to read, the Jack of Diamonds was a beautiful girl and a young boy. Something new but not tapped into yet. It is generally good news. For this, the card's main symbol is the wagon wheel. The dream of one signifies a visitor. I had a visitor in my dream a couple of nights ago. It was so clear. It was a reunion of someone that has been lost for me for a long time. Oh, and it felt so real. So real. Like astral travel real, right? Where I looked out and there's this person thing, and I looked up and it's you. And he looked down at me and smiled, and it just I think it's kind of unsettled me a little bit in the last couple of days, or like there's just something about the trust fall in some of this, but not getting caught up in expectations. It's generally good news. For this, the card's main symbol is the wagon wheel. The dream of one signifies a visitor. Like the wheel, folks travel many roads here and there and sometimes find themselves meeting each other halfway. This card foretells a future meeting between friends or relatives. Specifically, it represents a young man or woman with blonde or light features. However, the one whom this card represents may also be hard to please. That was weird. Okay. Stream of blood signifies loss or war, something lost that gives grief in its wake. Reversed, it shows the return of stolen property or some other things that was taken if you physically, emotionally, mentally, or spiritually. Patience pays, wait, good things will come. Consolidate, concentrate, just be you. Patience pays, wait. Consolidate, concentrate, just be you. Hi.
Is it open?
Turning this off.